Detroit Diesel isn't just a name, it's been a symbol of unstoppable power since 1938. Its two-stroke engines roared in trucks, farm machinery, and even boats, defining an era of legendary strength and reliability. What makes this engine line so special, one that defied time and the toughest work? Stay tuned as we uncover the 5 Detroit Diesels that left a lasting mark on history. Detroit Diesel, born in 1938. Detroit Diesel began as a division of General Motors in 1938 with a clear mission: to build engines that could adapt to virtually any environment imaginable. From war tanks and tugboats to grain trucks and power generators, their compact, rugged, two-stroke engines conquered American industry through reliability and power. Their naming system was as straightforward as their engineering. A 671 meant a 6-cylinder inline engine, with each cylinder displacing 71 cubic inches. Meanwhile, a 12V71 indicated a V12 configuration. Add a T for turbocharged or an A for aftercooled. In short, everything you needed to know was right there on the badge. Known for their distinctive sound, modular design, and battle-tested reliability, Detroit's two-strokes were built to work hard and last for years. Though they weren't common in factory-built tractors, they became essential to the support machinery that kept agriculture moving, from grain haulers and irrigation systems to field prep equipment. Today, we'll revisit 5 Detroit Diesel two-strokes that left a deep impression, both on the farm and far beyond it. #5 Detroit Diesel 6V92. In 5th place, we have the mighty Detroit Diesel 6V92. Though not originally designed with farming in mind, it somehow found its way there. Released in 1974, this two-stroke V6 packed brutal strength into a compact frame. In its more aggressive configurations, it produced up to 350 horsepower and 1,500 lb of torque. Thanks to a roots blower and, in some versions, a turbocharger, it delivered consistent, powerful performance. The 6V92 earned its reputation on the road, not in the fields. During harvest season, it was common to see International or GMC heavy trucks with this engine hauling grain and silage from the fields to the elevators, working non-stop from dawn until late at night. Its roaring exhaust could be heard long before the truck came into view. But what made it truly appealing for agricultural transport was its compact design. 6 cylinders in a V layout that allowed shorter hoods and easier maintenance, perfect for maneuvering between grain yards and processing plants. For those who saw rules more as suggestions, the 6V92 even found its way into custom tractors built purely for show or power pulls, whether competing in tractor pulls or turning heads at local fairs. This engine made its presence known the moment it started. Beyond the farm, the 6V92 also served in city buses, fire trucks, and military vehicles. It hauled people, water, and supplies with the same grit it used to move grain. But it wasn't flawless. These engines were notoriously thirsty. Under load, they burned fuel at an alarming rate. Not a big issue for short grain runs, but a nightmare for long workdays without refueling. And while their modular design made some repairs easier, regular maintenance was non-negotiable. Blowers needed cleaning, injectors required frequent inspection, and those who pushed the engines too hard without care soon faced coolant leaks and worn bearings. Additionally, their high-revving nature and narrow power band made them less than ideal for steady farm work. The 6V92 wasn't born for agriculture, but it had no problem getting its hands dirty when needed. Detroit Diesel 671, the foundation. If one engine taught generations of farmers what a true Detroit Diesel sounds like, it was the 671. Though it rarely sat under a tractor hood, it powered almost everything else around the farm. From grain trucks to irrigation pumps, the 671 was the silent muscle that kept operations running when tractors alone couldn't handle the load. Launched in 1938, it became the foundation of the entire 71 series. Each of its 6 cylinders displaced 71 cubic inches, totaling 426 cubic inches. With unit injectors and a roots-type blower as standard, it reached peak power around 2,100 revolutions per minute, producing 200 to 238 horsepower and up to 660 lb of torque. In marine or turbocharged versions, those numbers climbed even higher, but for most agricultural uses it was more than enough. During harvest season, it was the go-to engine for heavy hauling. Fully loaded grain trucks relied on its steady torque to haul crops from the field to the elevator without fail. Mack White and GMC cabs with Detroit power became a familiar sight on rural roads. Yet its duties extended far beyond transport. The 671 also powered irrigation pumps, belt-driven machinery, and even backup generators when the grid went down. Its ability to run for long hours under constant load made it a dependable choice for keeping critical farm operations alive. Detroit Diesel 12V71, built for brutal work. When it comes to raw strength and an unmistakable roar, few engines rival the legendary Detroit Diesel 12V71. This cast-iron colossus wasn't meant to sit under the hood of an ordinary tractor. But that didn't stop it from finding its way into the hands of those chasing uncompromising power and extreme custom builds. With peak outputs reaching 650 horsepower and around 1,400 lb of torque. This monster could literally move mountains. From marine propellers to heavy industrial machinery, the 12V71 was the engine of choice when the job was massive and the margin for error non-existent. Much of its might came from a cast-iron block with dry liners and the signature roots blower feeding its two-stroke cylinders. Although it was never factory-installed in farm tractors, some daring farmers and custom builders decided to shoehorn it into pulling tractors or oversized silage trucks. The result? Custom machines that look straight out of a sci-fi show, capable of hauling enormous loads with undeniable authority. Outside the agricultural world, the 12V71 built its legend, powering some of America's toughest machines. It was the beating heart of tugboats, fishing vessels, and even luxury yachts. On land, it powered logging trucks across merciless terrain and drove cranes, rock crushers, and industrial generators that kept work sites running day and night. Like all Detroit two-strokes, noise was part of the deal. In a tugboat's engine room or behind a truck cab, its constant high RPM growl created a mechanical symphony impossible to ignore. Many operators learned quickly that ear protection wasn't optional, it was survival gear. Fuel consumption, however, was another story. Efficiency wasn't in this engine's vocabulary. Under full load, it devoured fuel at a terrifying rate, fine for a ship or industrial rig where range didn't matter. But a nightmare for anyone trying to stretch a fuel budget through long workdays. Maintenance was essential, though its modular design simplified certain tasks, like removing cylinder heads without dismantling the entire block. Its size and sheer part count made it demanding. With 12 cylinders and 2 blowers to care for, there was plenty of hardware to watch and wear points to monitor. Run it hard without care, and you'd face cracked heads, worn liners, and prematurely damaged bearings. The 6V53, the all-terrain workhorse. If any Detroit diesel two-stroke deserves the title of wildcard, it's the 6V53. Small, rugged, and surprisingly powerful for its size, this compact V6 wasn't designed for tractors, yet it proved its worth in the toughest agricultural and off-road settings. Released in the late 1950s, the 6V53 featured 6 cylinders in a V configuration, with a total displacement of 318 cubic inches. A roots blower came standard, vital for scavenging in a two-stroke engine, and some versions added a turbocharger for even more punch. Depending on the setup, it produced between 165 and 250 horsepower and up to 545 lb-foot of torque, spinning happily up to 2,800 revolutions per minute. Its reputation for toughness was forged in the military. The 6V53 powered vehicles such as the M113 armored personnel carrier and M114 scout vehicle, proving its reliability under brutal conditions. That same robustness made it ideal for forestry machines and heavy agricultural support equipment. The 6V53 didn't live inside the tractor, it worked alongside it. It powered feller bunchers, cranes, bulldozers, and off-road haulers that handled the dirty work before the planting even began. It also drove irrigation pumps and stationary power units in remote farms, where a dependable high-output diesel was vital. A few enthusiasts took things further. Lighter and smaller than the 12V71, the 6V53 became a favorite choice for custom tractor pull prototypes and other mechanical experiments. Though it never gained mainstream popularity in that scene, it left a lasting impression with some unforgettable designs. Like every engine in this family, it had quirks. It performed best at high RPM and full load. Try to run it like a typical low-rev diesel, and performance dropped sharply. The sound was another story altogether. That high-revving, blower-fed V6, sometimes turbocharged, roared with such intensity that silence wasn't an option, even in open fields. The 6V53's bark could steal all the attention. Fuel economy was better than its larger siblings, but still higher than a comparable four-stroke, especially under heavy use. and since many of its parts came from military and industrial applications, maintenance often required specialized know-how. Luckily for mechanics familiar with Detroit's two-stroke design, its modular layout made most repairs straightforward, a crucial advantage in environments where downtime wasn't an option. Though it never took center stage on the farm, the 6V53 left its mark, roaring in bulldozers, humming beneath haul trucks, and powering support machinery with total dedication. Detroit Diesel 8V71, the scream of the Jimmy. If one engine could embody the raw sound of American power, it would be the Detroit Diesel 8V71, nicknamed Screamin' Jimmy for its signature high-pitched howl. This V8 was never meant to go unnoticed or handle light duty. Its mission was simple: make its presence known and get the job done without mercy. Like its bigger and smaller siblings, the 8V71 was rarely found under the hood of a standard tractor. Even so, its legacy was cemented in agricultural support equipment, grain haulers, silage trucks, and some of the wildest custom builds ever seen at rural American fairs and tractor-pulling competitions. The turbocharged version of the 8V71 could reach nearly 350 horsepower and more than 1,000 lb-ft of torque, thanks to its 568 cubic-inch displacement spread across 8 air-hungry cylinders fed by its signature roots blower. Those figures made it ideal for jobs where weight didn't matter and brute strength was essential. If you visited a grain elevator in the 1970s or 1980s, chances are you heard one of these engines long before you saw it. Its roar cut through the air with an almost intimidating clarity, a warning that something powerful was on its way. Beyond the fields, the 8V71 gained fame in heavy trucking, logging, construction, and marine work. It powered everything from tugboats and amphibious military vehicles to logging trucks that climbed impossible grades without flinching. Its reputation in these fields was well earned, a combination of steady torque and durability under punishing conditions. However, that power came with conditions. One of its biggest challenges was its high revving nature. Many operators used to low RPM four-stroke diesels pushed the 8V71 outside its ideal range, leading to cracked heads, worn liners, and overheating issues. This engine demanded to be run the way it was designed, or it would bite back hard. Fuel consumption was another story altogether. This wasn't an engine for the fuel-conscious. Under heavy load, it could empty a tank at a rate that astonished even seasoned operators. Perfect for a tugboat or short-range hauler, but not ideal for those needing long days between refueling stops. And then there was the noise. True to its nickname, the Screamin' Jimmy could keep anyone awake for hours. At first its howl might thrill you, but after 10 hours echoing off metal walls or grain silos, even the most devoted operator would beg for silence. Still, its legacy is undeniable. This engine built its reputation on unapologetic power and enviable longevity. In the right hands and with the right care, it could outperform nearly any other diesel in its class for endurance and output. Even today, decades after production ended, whenever one of these giants comes to life at a tractor pull or vintage machinery show, everyone stops to listen, because nothing, absolutely nothing, sounds like a Screamin' Jimmy doing what it was born to do. If you were impressed by the power and legacy of these Detroit diesel engines that drove both agricultural and industrial history, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell to keep discovering stories of legendary power and endurance. See you on the next adventure, where raw power always makes the difference.